There are many FPV radios in the market, but I normally categorize them in two big areas. The first one, big full-size radios like the Radiomaster TX16S, and the second one, small radios, more portable, like the Tango 2 from TBS. Today I want to talk about these small radios, check the difference between them, and see which one of them could be the right one for you at this moment. Before that, let's give 30 seconds to my sponsor. For as little as $5, you can get up to 10 printed circuit boards for your special projects. You just need to partner with the right company. PCB Way helps you bring those ideas into reality by giving you the chance to manufacture your circuit boards in a professional manner for a very affordable price and pretty quickly. Go and check them out. They offer many services, they collaborate with the open source community, and your first order is almost for free. As I said, let's focus on the small radios, and I'm going to start talking about the Tango 2, which I consider the golden standard for these small radios. The Tango 2 is a great radio, not only because it supports crossfire natively, which is the protocol that I believe let's say it's the most useful, especially when you are a beginner. It's stable, it's great, it gives you a good range. There is nothing not to like about it. This radio supports crossfire natively, which makes things simpler. You don't need to add any external model or anything like that. You can just configure your models and go. The build quality of this radio is actually excellent. It feels super good in your hands. It has a very nice shape. It has a little bit of this weight that makes something feel like it's well done, well built, it's solid. And of course, it's been reported that the durability of this radio is also great. You can use it for simulators as well as for your models. And in case that you want to add other protocols like ExpressLRS or FrSky or something like that, you can add an external bay to this radio and add those external models in the slim factor or the light factor to the back of the radio. The Tango 2 is one of the fewest radios in the market that comes with an integrated battery and has this very small screen here where you can control everything. The Tango 2 doesn't run OpenTX as most of the FPV radios that you can find around. It runs a custom version of OpenTX called Freedom TX. It's basically the same thing, but with some customized areas for the Tango. There was a time where crossfire wasn't completely enabled on OpenTX, and that was the main reason why TBS was forced to do a fork of OpenTX and put it in the radio. TBS has been teasing us, saying that OpenTX will come to the Tango 2, but it hasn't happened yet. Probably now that we have EdgeTX, which goes a little bit faster, things might change and we should be able to get that OS in the Tango 2 soon. As great as this radio is, there are two things that I personally don't like that much, and it's completely personal. The first things are the switch. In other radios you have switches like that you can flip up and down. Here you can see that you have buttons more than switches, and they are, I don't know, they are fine, but in my personal opinion, I like better my big switch like the one that we can find on the TX16S. The second thing that I don't like that much about this radio is the small screen. If you think about it, you use the screen just a little bit. You configure a model, you choose the model that you're gonna fly, and when you're flying, you don't even look at that screen. So you don't really need a big screen or a color screen like the TX16S. But To be honest, and again, it's something that is just for me, the small screen makes it very difficult to read, and if you have to be doing something there, it's kind of complicated, and I use glasses, and it might be that's the reason why I don't like it that much. The other thing is, as I said, Freedom TX, being a fork of OpenTX, doesn't work with OpenTX Companion, which is a software that allows you to do configuration on the computer for your radio, back up your models, and many other things. Since you don't have that kind of app that allows you to help you create models or back up your models and do some extra configuration, it's also a little bit complicated when thinking about using the small screen. Of course, being the top of the line also means to be on the top when it comes to price. And this radio retails for around $200 today. And when you find it, because it's very complicated, very difficult to find it in stock around the world. Now let me jump to the other side of the spectrum when it comes to these radios. I have here the Betafpv Lite radio. This radio comes either with a starter kit from Betafpv, like the Cetus or the Cetus Pro, or you can buy it separately. It costs around $70, which makes this radio the cheapest one in the market when it comes to something that you can use with different drones and for FPV in general. Of course, you get what you pay for. I have heard a lot of complaints about this radio. In fact, this is the second radio that I have, because the first one that I got didn't work out of the box. It worked sometimes, it didn't work some other times, and I had to get a replacement from Betafpv. I also heard a lot of complaints about the gimbals. The gimbals are very simple, they are kind of toy style, and the durability seems to be something that is not the greatest one. I have to say that Betafpv just updated the gimbals recently. I don't know much about them, and I guess that we have to give a little bit more time in order to know for real if the new gimbals are more durable or better or anything of that. This radio, it actually feels well in your hands. I'm not talking about the build quality of the Tango 2, for example, but it's not uncomfortable. It's solid. The switches are not full size, but they are switches. The hand fits in a right position, in a good position, and you can have your fingers here between the switches in order to quickly access to them when you are flying. The main two reasons why I brought this radio into this mix is because, number one, this radio, the Betafpv Lite, is the only radio today in the market that you can find with this form and Express LRS integrated internally. The radio you have to choose when you're buying this radio, you have to choose if you want it for FR Sky or if you want it for Express LRS. I think there is another protocol that I don't remember, but people don't use it that often. But once that you choose it, you can only use it with that protocol. This radio doesn't have any external bay that you can use to add more modules or more protocols. And the configuration, or if you want to change anything, you have to go with a specific or special app from Betafpv that allows you to do certain customizations or certain changes to the radio. It's not the best thing, it's a very unknown app. It kind of works, you know, it's not any professional app or anything like that, so it's a little bit weird. In my case, I have never used that app more than once or twice. I find this radio to be good enough for what it is, like this. Like if you're buying it with the starter kit, it's something good. You can still use it with a simulator through the USB port, which is pretty good. And if you are new and you just want something cheap to start testing the FPV world, this could be a good option. It also comes with this Gimbal Protector made in silicone, soft plastic, which I find it to be good. It will protect your gimbals enough to carry this radio in your bag without worrying about the gimbals getting broken or anything like that. As you can see in the radio, there is no screen or anything that can allow you to do changes on the radio itself. As I said, you need the external app to do it. But again, there is not much to do in this radio. You get here what you pay for and you just use it for that. Something around a year ago, early 2021, Jumper did something great. And it was to create this radio, which is called the Jumper T-lite, which is a small radio, PlayStation style, very, very inexpensive. You could get, when you find it, you can get this for around $80 or less than 100, let's say. What's so great about this radio was that a lot of people saw it as a secondary radio. You might have your TX16S for most of your things, but you could have this small radio for your small whoops at home, or when you wanted to go somewhere and you didn't have that much space. This kind of radio, or the PlayStation style radios, are much more portable. And being this as inexpensive as it is, this started to become very popular. It became so popular that some YouTubers, some famous YouTubers, are using this radio as their main driver to play with their FPV drones. As good as this radio was for the price, there were some issues, especially with the expansion bay, not supporting or not giving enough power to support external models like Crossfire higher than 25 milliwatts or Express LRS. There were some hacks that you could do to the radio in order to get more power, but it required you to open the radio, solder new parts, and a lot of people don't want to do that, especially if you are a beginner in the hobby. The screen is also very small, similar to the Tango 2. This radio runs OpenTX, so if you are used to OpenTX, you have all the features in here. You can use OpenTX Companion to configure or back up your models, or bring the models from your TX16S here, and those kind of things. There were some other problems with the battery on this radio because you don't have any kind of circuit protecting the battery from the wrong polarity. So if you inserted the battery in the wrong polarity, you will just burn down the radio without thinking about it. But the bad news is that as today, January 2022, Jumper cannot produce more of these radios because they have some kind of chip, or lacking some chip that they cannot find, and they cannot do this radio right now. They are telling me that they will keep doing it later on this year, but I think in 5-6 months they haven't produced anything, and I don't see anything yet in the pipeline for them. And this brings us to the last radio that I have for you today, which is the Jumper T Pro. It comes in this very nice box. It's the only radio from the ones that I'm talking, including the TX16S, that has actually a box, a case, that you can carry it safely. The radio comes with this strap, and it brings this Gimbal Protector, which is not as nice as the Betafpv one, because this is a hard hollow plastic that kind of rumbles when it's on top of the radio. If you look at the radio, it's not gonna win any prize for originality. It's very similar to the Tango 2. It steals the idea of the wheel here to use it as a enter button, and it's like the shape is extremely similar to the Tango 2. I guess they copied the best, and that is not a big problem. The build quality is not bad, it's not thin compared to the Tango 2 either, but it's okay. And they are using a similar idea for the switches or the buttons than you have on the Tango 2. They have many more buttons than the Tango 2. They have these wheels on the back, which if you are doing FPV for drones, you might not use at all. And they chose to have these kind of switches, which are tempered switches on both sides of the radio. That's interesting, but I mean, you can just get used to it, or you can choose to use another button for your actions. The T Pro comes around $120, which is a little bit more expensive than the T-lite, but still much cheaper than the Tango 2. It offers a bay, and this is very simple to install an external bay, so you can run, for example, an external protocol like the Express LRS or Crossfire or anything similar. This radio also have 2 batteries, 18650 batteries, which means that the problem that the T-lite had to feed external models for a bigger amount of power disappears with this radio. Now you have enough power to drive those external models and use the maximum powers of them. Connecting that external model is easy. You have in the box the pieces that you need. It's just one plug, 3 screws that you have to add, and then you have that bay in place to use your light models on the radio. The screen is the same size as the T-lite and the Tango 2. It runs OpenTX as the T-lite. Probably it runs HTX as well. I'm not sure, I haven't tested. And you have all the benefits of OpenTX in this radio. Jumper is saying that they are going to have a similar model to this, but with Express LRS integrated. This one has a 4-in-1 module, which means that it's a multi-protocol, which is great, right? Because if you have a lot of drones and you have some FrSky and you have some other brands of protocols around there, this radio is going to allow you to control all of them at the same time. And if you want, just add the Express LRS on the back or the Crossfire and you have everything here. Jumper is presenting this radio today as the replacement for the T-lite, or something better than the T-lite, and I think it's going to be well accepted by the community. It's a small radio, portable, not very expensive, easy to have with you. It comes into this very nice case that you can just toss in your bag and go and fly. And I've heard very good things about these gimbals. They are whole gimbals. People are saying that they are durable and that they feel good. So this might be a good option for you if you are looking for a PlayStation style radio and you don't want to spend all the money that you need to spend for a radio like the Tango 2. So in summary, I will say, if you are serious about this hobby, you might be already into getting Crossfire, and then the Tango 2 will be the best radio that you can have in your hands. That comes with the price as well, but it is the best one that you can have from these ones and with this form factor. But if you are starting in the hobby, you just want to test, you want to start playing with the simulator and you want to know what the hobby is about, maybe you don't want to go all in to the Tango. And there's where a radio like this one, like the Jumper T Pro, can come very handy. You can use it with a simulator, you can use it with different small drones, big drones and everything. And whenever you decide to go to Crossfire or Express LRS, you can just add the external model and you are ready. Well, this is all that I have for you today. I hope that you got something out of this video and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching.